We're ready to go. I'm sorry, the theme song. All right, good afternoon. Is it afternoon already?
It's afternoon somewhere.
It's afternoon somewhere. Good day. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, and we're here every Sunday on the case for truth and justice with the right information to help improve the situation. And as you know, Empire Talks Back is brought to you by Southern California Edison. And in terms of watching out for those downed power lines, especially in this kind of weather, I'm going to be talking with David Ford about that in a brief moment. But remember, stay away from downed power lines. Don't approach or touch the lines or anything or anyone in contact with the line. Call 911 immediately. And Empire Talks Back is brought to you, of course, by West Side Story Newspaper. I'm Wallace Allen with Mr. Celeste King IV, Mr. Andrew Valles the third.
Yes, that would be correct.
The
And
third?
it could be Andrew, Andre, Andreas, Andres, all the same things.
And you will respond to all of those.
Well, they all mean Andrew.
They all mean Andrew.
Yeah, same thing, just in different languages.
Yeah. You still only need one seat though, right?
That's it.
Hey, that's all I'm talking about. Empire Talks Back every Sunday. Today, if you are driving west of or east of Los Angeles, you're getting a chance to look up into the mountains and see some of the most beautiful snow and beautiful views that you'll see anywhere on the planet.
That's until you have to dig out of it, like I did this morning. Wallace.
And of course, I'll bet you saw a few down power lines up there, right?
And brownouts and blackouts and all kinds of interesting things. But this is the time of the season where you need to take care of your neighbors because they do the same for you.
Well, that snow in some areas this season, chances of the down power lines increase. So David Ford is on the line with us. What should one do when they come across a down line or a dangling wire, David?
Well, if you see a down power line that's dangling, even if it appears not to be live, don't touch it or approach it. Instead, call 911 immediately. And when you do so, when you're talking to the operator, inform that it's an electrical emergency.
Now, what if a down power line comes in contact with the vehicle?
Well, you're best to stay clear of the vehicle and the down power line. Call 911 immediately. And again, as I said before, make sure you tell the operator that it's an electrical emergency. They'll know what to do from there.
And Wallace,
Now, what about this power line touching the vehicle if you are in the vehicle?
right.
Well, you need to remain calm and stay clear, wait for the vehicle, instruct them, warn others to stay clear from the vehicle, and instruct them to call 911. Wait for the emergency assistance to arrive. If you must vehicle for safety reasons, jump clear. When you're jumping, make sure you don't touch the vehicle and the ground at the same time because, obviously you'll be a conduit of electricity and it'll just, you'll get electrocuted by that spontaneous touch of the ground and the car at the same time.
I have a question. What safety tips can Southern California Edison offer anybody, particularly someone like me who lives in a mountain community?
Well, and many times we have snow like you're seeing today out in your community. Keep all for safety precautions. Make sure that when you're trimming trees, that you keep it tools and equipment when you're handling overhead power lines. Make sure that you're at least 10 feet away from any power line that you would come and see or be around. That way you've got a real good chance of being in a safety zone. That applies when working on the roofs, using fruit picking poles, installing or removing an antenna or satellite dish, using long-handled pool skimmers, carrying metal ladders, or moving a boat with a mast to it.
Any of that tall and long stuff that could actually hit the, okay.
Exactly. And, you know, it's really important that when you see a down power line, don't go there and investigate and try to remove it. Call 911 immediately.
Where can folks get more information?
Well, for safety tips, that gives you information about down power lines, you can go to our website, which is www.fce.com/powerline.
And I'd imagine you could find out quite a bit of other pertinent information by going to that website, David.
Yes, absolutely.
Very good, very good. You don't keep a list of who's been naughty and nice on that one, do you?
I wish I did. I would want to make sure my name's on there. On
Very
the nice
good.
side.
Very good, David. Thanks a lot. You have a Merry Christmas and great holidays throughout the season. And thanks for getting with us. And we look forward to talking to you next year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So Andrew, you had to dig your way out again this morning, huh?
Well, I had to dig my way out Friday and then Saturday. And
So it
again this
comes
morning.
back. It's kind of reoccurring.
You know what? It's kind of like Groundhog Day. It's just the same thing every morning.
So we can expect you to start getting a little buffed as this snow season goes along.
Let me tell you, my shoulders both hurt. But it's a good hurt. I'll
Well,
take it.
Celeste used to live in those mountains. I don't know if that's something that he
Not
liked to talk
not
about.
only did I live in them, but you know, I kind of liked living out here rather than when I was living in Chicago.
Oh, yeah,
Because
I
when
can
I was in
understand.
Chicago, the awning over the stoop broke, and my grandmother never fixed it. And during the snow season, the screen door opened forward. It didn't, it didn't come to the inside. They didn't have an inside screen door like a lot of people did. They had the outside one. So every morning I had to jump out the second floor thing into the snow drift.
Well, guys,
Gotta clear the door.
yeah, that's one way to make a pathway. Speaking of pathways, we have a young man that's with us today who's on quite a path. He's quite an athlete. He's an A student. I'd like for you guys to meet Todd Jackson. Todd, step up to the microphone here. There we go. How you doing?
Good.
Very good. And Todd, who do you have here with you?
I have my dad, Todd Jackson,
Okay, that's Todd Jackson Sr., huh? Okay, and who else you have?
and my mommy, Tawana Jackson.
How are you, Mrs. Jackson?
Fine.
That's right. That's right. And who else?
And
He's young lady, stand up so we can see. You guys are on TV, by the way. Stand up. There you go. Okay, yeah. Tell us about your pretty sisters.
and my sister, Tyra Jackson.
Talking to the mic.
Tyra Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
Treasure Jackson.
Tyra and Treasure. That's great. That's really good. Okay, you're here because I received an email telling me about your great basketball exploits. Said something about you wanting to challenge me to play or some appropriate grown-up. Fortunately for you, my leg is sore. So I won't be able to do that with you today, but I hear that you're quite a baller and that you don't really have to talk about it a lot, that people can actually go to a website, a YouTube video, and see you dribbling and shooting and playing basketball and football.
Yes.
Now, you seem to do that well, and I was told that you're not very good at bragging, and I'm okay with that. You don't have to-
Here, I'll brag for him.
You can brag for me a little bit.
Is that Miss Lita?
That's Miss Lita.
Miss Lita. Well, first things first. We have to make certain everybody out in Radio Land is well aware of the esteemed Mr. Allen's sandbag there. That was just perfect. But from what I'm understanding of Mr. Jackson, Todd is a good and solid name, but so was Bo. So are you going for the Bo Jackson, the Todd Bo Jackson? Oh, bless you. With being
He probably doesn't even know about a Bo Jackson. Do you know who Bo Jackson is?
Yes.
Oh, you do?
I'm surprised you.
You know Bo Jackson was, you know him more for baseball or football?
Both.
Both. Okay. Well, we've got a few little questions here that we'd like to ask you. the young man goes to Newman Leadership Academy. Where is that school, Todd?
It is in San Bernardino.
In San Bernardino. And what grade are you?
I'm in 4th grade.
4th grade. And what's your teacher's name?
Miss Price.
Miss Price, give her a shout out. Just say hi, Miss Price.
Hi, Miss Price.
That way, when you go to school tomorrow, you can tell her that you spoke to her on the radio and you can lead her toward the program. Okay. Ah,
Ah, wow, that's great to know.
that's right. Okay, so this is,
Named after one of our great friends, and Mrs. Brothers back in.
that's right. Now, and what is your favorite subject at Newman Leadership Academy?
I like math
You like math, good.
and science
And science?
because I like science, like I like mixing up potions and stuff like that.
Mixing up potions.
Oh, you're a chemist, huh?
Oh, okay.
And I just like multiplication
Okay.
and division.
Okay, well, we'll multiply it up and divide it out equally and be sure that everyone gets their share. I like that. Mr. Valles is an engineer. He has figured out how to use numbers and math to his advantage. You may want to talk with him. He can probably give you a job. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm also kind of glad I didn't hear that you do any of my sports, which are cross country and swimming. But that's okay. Well, I'm not going to hold that against you. We're gonna talk, you bet, because I want to talk about quadratic equations and algebra and.
Yeah, we got to go on.
You
This is
bet.
the Part Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. On the case for Truth and Justice, we're going to take a very short break, and we'll be right back after that, and we'll get a chance to continue our conversation with Mr. Todd, on his way to being Bo.
Jackson.
Better than Bo.
Better than
Jackson.
Bo. You bet.
Very good.
Quadratic equations. I ain't heard that in so many years.
Yeah.
Solve the zero.
Hey, that was required learning. We had to know that.
Yeah, well, I do too. I remember. I forget all the formulas, but I remember the easy way to solve the zero for with the simplified.
Do your sisters
Todd, I want you
play
to know
sports?
something. Okay. All right. I went to the University of California in Berkeley, the University of California, the original. UCLA is not the original. Okay?
No, but it's the better.
It's the better. Yeah, that's what they said. It's a bigger campus. That's all it is. Anyway, when I was going to school, I went to go study civil engineering, land survey engineering, with a minor in mathematics. Okay, people are going to tell you that math is hard, like calculus, for example. It's not. It's not hard at all. All calculus is, when you get to that level, is just fancy adding under the slope or under the curve. It's just real fancy adding. That's one part.
Imaginary, not imaginary, creative.
Right. The other is to find the slope at a certain point on the curve. That's all it is. So don't be afraid.
Like basketball.
Just like basketball. When you're making that shot, you have
That's
to
the
have the
point
right
on the
slope
curve.
and the right amount of push, right? Same thing with this.
You
That's
just
all
put
it
a
is.
number to it.
You know, I'll share something with you. They tell you that it's hard. Well, they're right. Everything is hard until you learn it. Once you learn it, it's real easy. And it doesn't take a lot to learn it. It just takes the dedication and say, you know what, I'm going to do that. And then do it. That's all there is to it. You know?
All right, this is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. Welcome back to the show. We're spending our good time interviewing Todd Jackson. He's a 9-year-old athlete, student supreme that has a loving and caring family. 2 sisters that are just devoted to him. You are a lucky young man. They're so devoted to you. They'd like to probably be somewhere else right now, as opposed to cheering for you, and you're not even playing sports or anything of that sort. Let me talk to one of your sisters. Let's see.
We gotta go with treasure. That's
Let's go with Treasure.
That's
Yeah,
a
let's,
wonderful name.
Treasure, come forward.
on, Treasure.
Yeah, you weren't expected to talk, so this is good for you. How are you?
Good.
And where do you go to school?
At Newman Leadership Academy.
Newman Leadership Academy, Ike also. And what is your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Math. Are you helping your brother? Does he need help with his homework sometimes?
Yeah,
And do you help him?
sometimes.
Very good.
Do you charge him for that help? You know, favors. He has to take out the garbage when you don't want him.
No, he always has to.
You always have to make it.
Okay, all right, very good. And let me speak to your other sister, Tyra.
Hi.
How are you, Tyra?
Good.
And you are the elder sister?
Yes.
Okay, and where do you, let me ask this question, where do you go to school?
The same school Todd goes to, Newman Leadership Academy.
So the whole family is there.
Yes.
Are you inclined to be athletic?
Not really.
Okay. Do you, can your brother outrun you?
Yes.
He can? Oh, what do you like to do in school? What's your favorite subject?
Math.
Okay, so we have the math idea.
We got a family of mathematicians.
That's
here.
great. Is that because your dad gives you such a great allowance that you need to know how to keep up with it?
No.
No. Okay.
That sounds
it's
like-
because you're preparing so that when he does, you'll know what to do with it, right?
No, I just like math.
You just like math. So the dad doesn't have to put any money on the line at all on that one.
Well, you got to look at it this way, Wallace.
Dad gives a big thumbs up on that. I like that.
Just like in math, where you have imaginary numbers, there's an imaginary allowance. So I'm sure there's something going on.
I remember that one.
Yes, go budget for how much allowance would you like to have?
Well, when we get our report cards, we get $5 for each A, and
How did you do last time?
I got $30.
Ooh-wee. Okay, so that was for how many A's?
6.
Okay, and how did your brothers and sisters do?
I don't know.
Okay, let's check this out.
Oh, it's confidential.
Let's get you back over here. How did you do on the A parade last time?
Last time I didn't get a report card yet.
Oh, the dog ate the report card. Okay, okay.
Well, different grades get the report cards different times.
No, I understand.
Go ahead and ask Treasure, and then I'd like to.
Treasure, how did you do with your report card? Come talk to the microphone. How
I
many?
got $25.
$25. Okay, well you got something to look forward to, Todd, don't you? Okay, how many subjects do you have? How many chances to get an A?
What grade is he?
He's in 4th grade.
4. I have 4 chances.
He's got 4 chances, so he can make $20. That's all right. Yeah.
Can I ask,
Tyra, Miss Lita would like to ask you a question. Can she hear you?
what grade are you currently?
Excuse me?
What grade are you?
Oh, I'm in 6th. Me and Treasure are in the same class.
What do you want, go to college to learn about?
Ask her again, Miss Lita.
I want to know, if she's thinking about college, what she thinks she might major in, or what she thinks she may want to do in her life, in her career.
I want to be a teacher. A middle school teacher
A middle school teacher.
for math.
For math. All right. Good deal. Very good. Okay, Todd, come back over, buddy. Got a couple more questions for you. Okay. Who are the 3 most influential people in your life?
My mom and my dad and God.
Very good. Okay. Who do you want to impress?
Like, sometimes when I was in my football game, my family was there, and then I wanted to do really good. Like, I wanted to get like a touchdown every time.
Okay.
So, my family.
Well, you know what?
Does
He
he-
actually played in one game, where he could only got to carry the ball 4 times because he made a touchdown with each carry, and they have a rule, a mercy rule, is that what they call it? A mercy rule. I mean, you got mercy. Right?
Okay, well, while we're on this, while we're having a, you know,
Okay. Yeah, so they took him out of the game.
well, I would imagine it's got to be like Keith Olbermann said some years ago. Don't kick it to Hester. It's probably don't kick it to Jackson. But so do I. But I do have a question, and for those of you out in Radio Land, remember KCAA Empire Talks Back is also streaming live on the internet right now. Todd, do you have a football dance? We gotta see the football dance.
No, he doesn't.
No football dance?
No, he does not.
Oh my.
That was why.
I'm not really excited when I get a touchdown.
Well,
He's been there before.
oh, I
And he
see.
expects to get there again.
Okay,
And dancing, hey, give me 5 on that.
that's a good answer.
10. I'm gonna tell you. And for all of those people out there who say, why do they do that? Why do they? Ask the TV director to look at something else as opposed to asking why the athlete is trying to get some more attention to earn some more money. Hey, okay? Be silly about that. Well, no. I've got some people I know some. No, honestly, the TV director, the guy directing the TV.
The director does what the director wants to do. I have no problem with the players that dance or don't dance.
No, I agree.
I'm not quite sure what I would do.
No, but I was talking to those people who do have a problem with them dancing. You know, I mean, the big don't do the dance.
If you go through sports, all sports, there are all kinds of different rituals. They have to start somewhere.
Well, speaking of,
Why is it that nobody else likes to dance for that?
well, speaking of which,
Let me get back to Todd. Todd,
I don't know, in
Why
Green
do you
Bay,
like
Green Bay,
sports?
everybody jumps in the stands.
why do you like sports, Todd?
I don't know. I just I figured out I was good in them, so I just like them.
Very good.
what do you do to, you know, improve and train yourself? I mean, what do you do with that? How do you work out? Do you run 10,000 miles in one day? I mean, what do you do?
I practice.
You practice?
Practice. Okay.
All right. And the same thing for school, right? You have to study. Well, who's your best friend?
My friend Jaden.
Jaden? Give Jaden a shout out.
Hi, Jaden.
All right, good deal. All right, Mr. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
All right, you've got 3 kids. What do you do to be sure everybody gets the same amount of butter on the bread?
It's pretty difficult. They all like different things.
Yeah.
Todd is very much into sports, so that takes a lot of my attention. And mommy handles the girls in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But the girls academically, they don't require a whole lot of help because they're real good. But we try to just spread it out as even as we can.
Very good. Could we speak to Mommy?
Hello,
How are you?
I'm fine.
You're doing a great job with your kids here.
Thank you.
And what is the one thing that you think is most important in keeping your family together?
We have to keep them in church and keep their belief in God strong.
Very good. And you be sure to tell Pastor Josh that you were over here this morning, and that I begged you to come over, and I told him that I know he's so solid in his preaching, and you're so solid in your learning that you could afford to miss a day.
Thank you.
Part of it. But we're going to let you guys go on. We do appreciate you coming in and reminding us again about how important our children are and how important it is for our parents to spend time with them, and how blessed we are as a community to be able to call on you to share these great moments in your life
What
with
a
us.
great family.
Great family.
Thank
God
you.
bless you. Thank you
God
very
bless you
much.
too.
And Merry Christmas.
Empire Talks Back. This is Empire Talks Back. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We're going to take a very short break. We'll be right back, and we're going to come back and try to see if we can't solve some of the issues that are plaguing the world, especially our friends in Connecticut at this time. So, we'll be right back. Hang in here, folks.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Here I am.
Andrew. Good luck, Todd. Have
Hey,
fun.
you have a good one, man. I'll be looking for you in 10 years if I'm still here.
Hey, I'm gonna be looking for you a little quicker than that. I like some tickets to the college game.
To the college game?
College
Well,
game.
that's what happens in
College
10 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Man, I guess you're about right.
Okay.
I got some saving to do.
Thanks, Reed.
Yeah.
Oh, watch it.
Thank you, Francis.
All right. Yeah, I want to tell you guys, like, my daughter, she went to,
Miss Treasure, you take care of God
Davis,
bless you.
and she got a an academic scholarship.
First year, they gonna put him
So
in
she
a
gets
shirt.
$2 grand a month and all tuition. So guess what? That's very important because the thing about the athletic is, you know, they don't have full ride anymore.
What do you think?
So if he gets hurt, then 1 year they don't have to renew
Talk
it.
about?
But you can't hurt your brain.
Okay.
So my daughter gets $2 grand a month
Same thing you
for going through academic.
We try to, yeah.
No, we're gonna talk
Yeah,
about
because
ammo control
they
as opposed to
really
gun control.
take advantage of athletes because
You know,
if
you
they
say
don't
you don't.
perform
What good does
up
it
to
do?
level,
It doesn't do
they
anything.
ain't got to renew their scholarship.
Well,
So they might get
Feinstein
the
was
first
on
year.
Meet the Press this
Don't
morning.
play that well.
Yeah, I know.
She's
She's
gonna
gonna,
leg.
she's gonna reintroduce
When
her.
they're out of college,
or,
It's
that's
assault
Yeah.
weapons bill, yeah.
The
But
one that sunset.
if you go
gonna
academically,
read-
all she
read
has
this.
to do is teach a class. And she gets that $2 grand a month. All tuition is the way to go.
You know, I mean, every time
Just something to
something
think about.
happens, we use it
She
as
was
an overreaction.
valedictorian and
The reality
everything.
is that
But
kids
it's
are 40
really,
times
really
more likely
important.
to die in the streets
The academic.
than,
Because
than
you
they
can't
are
take
in
that.
school. Maybe
Athletic.
50 times more, you know, I mean, shoot. I remember in '99, I think that
Remember this.
the number was
1 out of 50,000 kids
and that was when they had
Pro.
that 98, 99 was a huge
Athletic.
rash
in the sand.
of school incidents. You know,
This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen on the case for truth and justice. Miss Lita Pazant on the phones. Andrew Baez here in the studio, along with, of course, Mr. Celeste King IV. And Christina Benjamin is in the control room, in control. And we are joined at this point by Mr. Leonard Evans. How you doing, Leonard?
I'm here, I'm doing great.
Very good, very good.
If there's no people, focus like this.
Oh, that young man is once again the reason that we're able to respond and feel such empathy for what's going on in Connecticut. You know, for me, I'm blessed to wake up and hear my grandkids running through the house. You know, Josephine's able to say, well, it's almost daylight. The kids are running down the hall. To miss that and there are people now who are going through that misery and pain, and yeah, the Grinch has come to take their Christmas away. But at the same time, as I was coming in the studio, I heard Celeste and Christina talking about the situation in Connecticut, and Celeste reminding us that, you know, there's people walking over bodies every day throughout the world, and we have a condition that's very special to us when it occurs close to us, but it seems to be one that we are able to forget about fairly quickly and move on, looking forward, or not looking forward to, but being ready to acknowledge the next terrible incident. What can we do about it? I'm not sure. But I would like to, you know, as Celeste has said, you know, everybody's talking about it. What can we do? What good can, you know, we make out of this? I don't know, but I am going to leave it open to you to discuss. Miss Lita?
Okay, I'll be quick, Nancy. Two things. One, children are starting to get in America, and someone said this is the largest school shooting. I don't think so. There's 5 people were killed in Stockdale, California in the 80s at a school. Number 2, and not that minimizes the grief and the horror, I'm not saying that. Number 2, we talked before about gun control. We talked before about the repetitive clips and those who use the repetitive
Mr. Evans? Leonard? Well, Andrew, I knew you had,
I'm here.
okay, I'm sorry.
What we're talking about here, to me, can be simplified down to simply making people feel included. If they feel part of something, they don't destroy it. And I think that is really where the focus is. And it covers a wide range of things. And that's all that I have to say, that people need to feel included. This is an example of people feeling alienated, not part of something, and wanting to lash out and destroy it because they feel powerless in a way. It doesn't have to be that way.
Is this possibly someone that should have been institutionalized? I mean, did,
You know,
But if they were included, that would be identified, because if you had, interaction with people who would have the chance to identify that this person has a problem.
well, his brother identified enough that made him not speak to him for 2 years or be in touch. I don't, we mentioned his aunt. They've interviewed his aunt. His father hasn't been brought out to my knowledge yet. He lives a couple of dozen miles away, as I heard it described this morning. So yeah, you're probably right. He's been left out by those that maybe he wanted to be included by. Once again, we just witnessed a great situation here this morning with 3 kids. They all have their world, and they're all, I'm sure, to a degree, forced to support each other because they don't always want to be where the others are, but they're a family, and they learn to make that adjustment and to be supported. And I guess that's what you mean when you say included. And people who don't have that are truly lacking, and you can tell that if you are empathetic and you have that, because I have it, and I would feel very sorry for anyone who doesn't have someone like that.
We really can't be, I'm not discounting what Leonard said, a lot of what he's saying is true. But there's also,
Ain't nothing common about common sense.
That like in China, you could, someone could conceivably take a knife and kill 26 children and their teacher in the classroom, but I think in America, before they got to all the children, somebody would have got out, got in, jumped him or something with a knife. Now, I still have a problem with tracking automatic and other weapons in this country. I also have a problem with, people are mentioning mental health. That's related to what Leonard said. We should at least be monitoring guns so that if you have someone with a mental health problem in your home, your gun case is one step away from them. Okay, that's it with another gun. We have some issues here.
Yeah.
We have a lot of issues
Wait.
here, and I don't
Wait a minute. I think we
you have 91 Volvo is more important to the government than an automatic rifle.
Well, maybe they know who's driving it. I'm just kidding, Mr. Oh, that was a good. No. That was not feminism. That was leader drivingism.
we're getting back to barefoot and pregnant.
Yeah, we're getting folks. We're getting a little personal, a little too personal.
No.
There's another thing here when you look at it. The reality is, I don't care whether you track a weapon, whether you don't track it. Everything that happens in regard to these situations is after the fact. Okay? So what we're talking about, when we start talking about implementing safety measures and all of these things, what we're really talking about are deterrent factors. Well, deterrent factors are great for those people who adhere to deterrence.
Right.
But when you look at these people who perform these acts, they're not normal in terms of being able to, or being wanting to or agreeing to the deterrent factors. Most of these people are abnormal. Then when you look at it from a school standpoint, like this incident, okay, schools are in fact, schools are the safest place in America for children. Okay? More children die on the streets of America in our cities than any place else. These are aberrations when these things happen in a school. True, they are tragic. True, they are catastrophic. but our reactions to them are even more so in most cases. Because what we do is we come in and then we put in place things that are truly counterproductive to our own well-being. Because we begin to encroach and move toward what we call being safe. And being safe is a continual limitation of your ability to be free from government intrusion into the world you live in. Now, what we've got to do is figure out how to incorporate some of these things that are needed in terms of all of the family structures and all that stuff to help. But yeah, we've got to figure out how do we identify situations more,
Before they
before they
trip
occur,
into some
without
disastrous-
without constraining us to the point where we're moving towards a police state.
Now,
Okay, so that's the thing, let's not dumb this down, like we have everything else to the lowest common denominator, and hobble the entire society for what is the problem with simply a small number of people.
Well, you don't need to hobble the entire society. It just takes some common sense, but
well, you know how common sense is.
well, yeah, and it's running out of style. But it's been out of style since. Well, that depends. We got to look at the 2000 election for common sense. Well, actually, we're going to get another female perspective on this, Miss Lita, from our fantastic control room.
Christine.
We want Christina to lend her views on,
Oh, yeah,
on this
she had
matter.
plenty of attitude as I was coming in the studio.
This is the Empire Talks back. We want to hear what she has to say.
Well, the one thing I have to say is sometimes we forget as parents that we want to take our children and we want to protect them so much that we don't want them to know that they have mental issues. So we don't get the help that they need. And it was important for that child or that young man to have help because other people knew that something was going on. And I'm sure his mother knew and his father knew, but they kept it to themselves.
And you're right. You're right. There is an entire mental health outreach program that has just been developed in San Bernardino County, pointing specifically at the African American community because of the stigma
Yeah, so
that
we need
goes
to
along with having mental illness.
we need to remove that stigma
yes.
because the reality is that things happen to people, on a regular basis that we attribute them to be something other than acceptable. We make these value judgments based on they're not good or they're bad people because these things happen, when in reality they're just people with problems, and a lot of those problems can be solved.
And socially, we do need to have some type of way to deal with things other than criminalizing them or making them so socially unacceptable that we ostracize people and make them feel like they're ostracized. So I think, Leonard, your point of inclusion is an important point. And when you said it, I didn't think that it would evolve to this point where even Miss Lita's okay with that.
Oh, I'm very okay with it. As somebody who's always questioned the American Psychological Association for a lot of things.
But your
And
point,
a lot of things that they have ignored and are finally coming to terms with it has been reality for the black community for hundreds of years. No, I would never dismiss the importance of the psychological and mental health illness.
But your point-
and alienation.
but your point about tracking and tracing, tracking the guns, and I can
Well,
hear what Celeste is saying about. You've inspired me. You ought to let me talk.
Different.
Your point about the tracking the weaponry is sound and perfect, and I disagree with Celeste about it being totally reactionary. The idea of knowing that you can get caught, I think, would make some people slow down on this issue. Now, certainly the people that have been involved in these kind of mass shootings, they're willing to take their own lives. But I think that the parent, the person who gets the gun, may have a little bit more to do with it if they thought for sure that they were going to be tracked and traced as the person who purchased that gun and be responsible for it forever.
Just as a point, let me throw this in. We have a system in America called ankle bracelet monitoring that is done with ex-offenders coming out of prisons. Okay? Well, let me show you. This is tracking, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do they do with them? They take the bracelets off and they put them on the dog, and the dog's going down to Tijuana, and they're in San Francisco killing people.
Touche.
I mean, when we talk about tracking, here again, we're talking about just like when my grandfather used to tell me, locks are for honest people, because those people who are not honest and don't have integrity or a moral foundation
They use the lock as a symbol.
are going to use the lock and say, there's a lock there, there must be something that I can use or valuable, so let's open that lock. Okay, it's the same thing with tracking. If you look at a tracking device, once I know that it's there, if I'm on that other side of the thing, hell, I can remove that damn thing.
Yeah.
So then what do you do?
I don't know.
I mean, and that's the reality. The reality is that there is a counter stroke to
Forever.
everything that you do, and those that do the counter stroke or implement it are the very people that you want to keep track of.
Chris Rock, in one of his recent performances, talked about
$5,000 per bullet.
Right.
Yes.
Now that's a good one. You see, cost effective.
Well,
Andrew called me the other day, and,
Cost
said,
effective.
we need to raise the price of ammunition.
well, not necessarily raise the price.
Then the black market will go into effect, and they'll be going into everything.
Whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works.
Now, of course, here at the new Empire Talks Back, I can't say new. I guess we've just become a little more advanced. Our cohort and he's a listener today, Mr. Jamal Lilly. He has written, Dr. Ed McCabe and Gary Hall, PhD, have both shown scientifically that the psychopathy of these civilian murder suicide perpetrators has to do with the primary factors of greater susceptibility to the adverse effects of more toxic psychosocial, biochemical, bioelectric.
Jamal calls, man.
And I mean, this thing goes on for about 4 pages.
Oh, yes, it does.
You bet. But
I understand that when you talk about that serotonin.
and then you throw in the video games and there are consequences, just like elections. But in any case, Jamal,
Let's roll the clock back a little
I say
bit.
something there, it's my turn.
Go ahead.
My turn.
Is that true, Christina? Okay, yes, Christina agrees. Come on, Miss Lena.
Well, as long as Christina agrees, that's good.
That makes it okay, huh?
remember, it is called the control room.
And I think what it takes me to ask again, in terms of this that you started with talking about the Catholics and talking about gun control or not, or mental health or not, bottom line, this is a repetitive thing, this mass killing type thing, whether it's mass because you're living in Chicago or San Bernardino, where you have too many per year, or you're living in Connecticut or Colorado where you have too many at one time. It's a repetitive action in the United States. The bottom line is this. So that you said that it just opens the door for the government to put more control on all of us. Well, what do you think happened after 9/11?
That was tragic, and I agree.
Mr. Lamaza, or whatever his last name was, who did this the other day in Connecticut, and his last name was Muhammad Abdullah Abu. We all be in discussion about new rules, like Bill Mayer says, new rules.
Well,
So let's not talk about what impacts my life. They've been doing a Patriot Act on black
and I was on
They
everybody.
didn't wait for 9/11.
On everybody, and they removed habeas corpus out of the ballpark, which meant that they destroyed your freedom.
well, here's something that I
So
want.
since they've done it already, what's the problem with protecting black women in their own communities?
Well, there you go with that. Like,
Without a
let's talk about people as a whole, because these weren't black kids per se, okay? Let's talk about the population as a whole.
Let me know my question.
What was the question?
Right now, my question is, what do I do for the black single mother trying to get her child from school to home with these guns that have never been inventoried all around and the crazy people in her neighborhood? I wasn't asking about Connecticut. I'm asking for you black men to come up with new solutions for her. Okay? Please,
Yeah.
be creative.
Well, first of all, you know, in relationship to the total numbers of people in this community and in most communities, the death rate is minuscule, and especially when you talk about, you know, the death rate among young children. When you talk about teenagers, it escalates. Okay, now, yeah, elementary school kids are not
Well,
being
it's a
killed.
fact, so let's not argue
Yeah.
about it.
Now, there again, drive-bys are a different facet of what you're talking about. But they also are. Well, you're talking about.
No, they're about their
Oh
bullets.
God.
So you can talk to the statistics you got from someplace else. Because some of the statistics where we live.
Okay, let's.
Well, how many kids died last night in your community? How many drive-bys did they have in your community last night? How many did they have last week? How many did they have last month? See, the reality is that each time these things happen, they're tragic, catastrophic, and they get sensationalized. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that guns, you know, or anything, because but what I am saying is this. And this goes back. Gun technology is really kind of basic, and if you remove all the guns off the street, do you realize that it doesn't take anything more than a pipe and a cartridge, and you have a weapon, you have a gun? It doesn't take rocket science to have guns. So people are going to have guns who want them.
I think we have to move toward a situation that includes people enough that they feel like they're part of the game enough to not want to be excluded.
We got to change the total.
We're going to go back over to what you're saying, Ms. Lead, about the violence in the African American community. You know, there's people that will tell you that is definitely a. But they will also tell you that these same kids have access to school, and their mamas and daddies ain't making them go.
Well,
Now then there'll be somebody to tell you that the school ain't worth going to. No, Miss Lita, you're a black woman, but you're not the only one that I know.
You know what about the brown? Community?
You're a black woman, Miss Lita,
It's the
but
same
you
thing.
are not the only one that I know. And I know many black women, and I know many black children, and I know the few differences that take place in our culture, in the neighborhoods, and we can say black neighborhood, but we could also use another word, and it would kind of bring all the neighborhoods together that are in that classification. Let's say the poor neighborhoods, because all black neighborhoods don't have the problem. Black, poor neighborhoods. I don't think I interrupted you, Miss Lita. If I did, I apologize.
You know,
I'm glad
the
I
problem-
incite you enough to make you want to talk while I'm talking, but I would like to get to finish.
The problem that you're addressing.
I didn't disagree with that. I'm saying that the drive-by is an issue that many people say that's an important issue, but if these kids had jobs, if these kids had a reason to go to school, if they had that black man who would stand up. I'm sorry, Miss Lita, I thought you wanted me to talk.
Well, you know,
Let me get to the end of the
you
sentence,
know,
and maybe I'll tell you.
this is not unique
We're-
just to the
we're-
black community.
the
It's in the
argument-
brown community, the Asian community, the
That's
white
right.
community.
And
I
the
mean,
quest,
come on.
and the quest to be heard on this issue is one that, like Celeste says, it gets very, very loud whenever we have a big incident like this. But that lady who lost her child last week or last night certainly doesn't want to be lost in the confusion. She wants her son, her daughter's misery to be heard also. But like Andrew, Leonard, like we're all saying, we would like to not have that occur. We'd like to get to a point where it doesn't occur like that. And so part of that is going to be trying to determine whose death is more important than somebody else's. That'll keep us divided and probably conquered for a long time. So we could go down that road and say, well, I know you lost somebody, but I lost somebody, and my somebody was just a little bit more important than your somebody.
Okay, well now here's
No, I know that's not your intention, Miss Lita. That's not your intention. No, you would never intend to say that. But you just said it. You just said it when you said, nah, but what about our black kids and their black mother? Well, that's what I heard, and I'm sorry
That's
for
what
being
everybody
wrong.
heard.
we have a creative solution. So here's one for you, since you want to be on the attack. Here's something for women of all creeds and colors to take into consideration. Celeste, I think, is being just as pragmatic and practical about this as I am, and he's a Republican, and I'm a Democrat. So, and we see this from the same. No, I'm not Mr. Allen.
No, I'm telling him, solutions aren't always.
How are you going to step all the way over Andrew's conversation and jump on me, Miss Lita? He was talking. Now, let's slow down. Let's be civil in this thing. Andrew was talking. Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Andrew.
well, first of all, by the way, Mr. Lilly couldn't join us because all the phone lines are full. I can see the switchboard from here. It is on fire. In any case, he's talking about the bottom line is that it's an environmental health issue. I would go one step further and say it's not only environmental, it also has to do with supply and demand. And the issue there is if you really want to control the environment and you want to put in that only people who can get access to certain material and ammunition, yes, as much as the Chris Rock thing may be a comment of $5,000 per bullet is good comedy, let's put that into reality. We talk about guns and the NRA and all these folks, they're talking about, well, you can't take away my right to own a gun. Great, buy as many guns as you want. But guess what? You need to have, and this is my idea.
Have a permit to buy
You need to have a
ammunition.
permit, and in order to get that permit, you need to know on how to clean a gun, on how to properly store a gun, how to operate and shoot that
Know how
gun.
to drive your car.
You just like, and look at it this way: an automobile and an aircraft, as well as being a medical practitioner in this country, you have to be licensed,
So
trained.
let me cut us off because of the time.
that's reasonable.
Hold it, let me cut us off with the time because Andrew, you were responding to a challenge Ms. Lita gave in terms of men coming up with a creative solution. And I would forward that solution to saying if women could convince their men and go vote on this issue, that is whatever it may sound, it could occur. Even your issue on tracking, though we know it wouldn't work and it would make the crooks figure something else out to do. If we said you had to qualify for ammunition and had a series of questions and there'd be people who'd be nuts on that. They'd just be totally nuts. They say all of our freedoms have been taken away. But if the mothers wanted to do that, and it would make them feel safer, that's one of the things they could do. It's a vote, and it's a telling your friend to vote. Go on, Leonard.
You need a cultural change.
Christina, tell me what I...
This is the fastest hour, and it is gone.
I say let's deal with ammunition, because then we don't have to deal with guns being stolen or misused, as what happened in this particular case.
This is why I love us, because we're able to talk and understand things while we're talking. We haven't solved the world's problems or the issues of the world, but we have tried. We're on our way. This is Empire Talks Back. See you next week. If the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. God bless you.
There's a point when you